There's even a song out there that's been really popular that says more money, more problems. Hey there, I am medium Shelley Sanders. Welcome to the channel where practical and spiritual meet. We are in the More Money series, and today our topic is how to keep more money. So before we can talk about how to keep more money, we first have to diagnose what's keeping the money away. So very similar to when you go to a doctor and the doctor needs to find out what's the underlying problem of why you're there. This is the same thing that we're going to need to do as a first step. So the important thing that we're going to discover today is, what are your thoughts about money? What's your belief about money? And how do you feel about money? Because depending on your environment, where you grew up, what your parents talked about, and your personal experience with money, it's going to determine how much money you're going to be able to keep. So when it comes to money, it can be an uneasy conversation because most people don't like to talk about it. It's actually considered taboo. So what could be happening with you, let's say maybe if you're within a family that's been struggling with money, you might subconsciously feel like in order to fit in, it's important that you be like everyone else. So if everyone that's in your inner circle is struggling with money, you may actually do the same and self-sabotage yourself, not really understanding why this is happening. So for you, it could be more important to be accepted and be a part of the family than to be on the outskirts with money. So when I work with clients as far as why their business is not making money, there tends to be a typical thing that I see, and that it's safer to be in a group than be alone. So I have a client, and when she first came to me, her business was not making money. She was spending time on Facebook. She was looking at videos of kittens and puppies and on Instagram, and she was doing everything but working. And so when we took a deeper dive, what came up was, when she was a little girl, she saw her mother and grandmother together, and they were whispering about money. So she was about 6 years old at the time, and she overheard them talking about money and how it was a struggle. So in her young mind, she assigned whispering as a form of friendship and best friends. So she decided that if she wanted to be a part of the group, that she had to be just like them and struggle with money. Now, her mother and grandmother never said anything that they would reject her if she made more money than they did, but she had this subconscious belief. And so whenever it was time for her to work, whether to get new clients, to work on social media, to talk to clients privately, she kept stopping and she kept sabotaging. Once we were able to dig down to the nut of what was actually happening, she was able to let go of that false belief, and now she's getting clients consistently. So now it's your turn. We want to take a deep dive and see what's going on with you. Do you have an underlying thought or belief that it's more important to be a part of the group and struggle together with money than it is to be on the outskirts and make money? So one book that I recommend is Jen Sincero. And in the book, and let me just say, this could be a trigger warning. The title of the book is You Are a Badass at Making Money. And within the book, she helps you to go deep within, gives you prompts to journal so you can get down to the source of where your money struggles are coming from. And then at the end of each chapter, you can work out a lesson, and it helps you to really work in detail. So on page 45 and on page 46, there's a lot of beliefs that are very common with people as what stops them from making money. So one of the things that was said to me as a little girl is money doesn't grow on trees. Also, it's not polite to talk about money. I've heard this one as well. always have a backup plan. I highly recommend getting Jen's book if you can to do some of those journal prompts. If you can't, just on your own, you can have a journal. Doesn't have to be anything expensive. It could be as simple as a composition book. So basically what this is really going to boil down to is, what are you saying about money? What are the conversations around you about money? What do you think about money, and what do you believe about money? Because those limitations are going to show up as the amount of money that's in your bank account. So think about it. If you have people around you and they're saying that, it's hard to make ends meet, that is actually going into you subconsciously. So one thing about Oprah Winfrey is whenever she gets into someone's car, her rule is they cannot have the radio on, because she understands how law of attraction works, and she also understands about abundance, and she's very careful as far as what she listens to, what she watches, and what she allows into her own personal atmosphere, because she doesn't want any negativity or any type of struggle entering into her own atmosphere, meaning that it's going to be tough for her to manifest. So as you're around family and as you're around friends and you're listening to these conversations, start to pay attention. And do you have some underneath beliefs that if you make more money than your family or your friends, are they going to think less of you? Will they treat you differently? Will you be seen as you think that you're better than the rest of us? So all of this is first chakra, so which is about fight, flight, food, water, shelter, protection. So when we are triggered by our first chakra, it's all about gathering together and that there's safety in numbers. But if you start making money, it may put you outside of that circle. So it's about changing your thoughts and seeing, is this really true? Will your family really reject you if you make more money than they do? So these are some exercises that you're going to need to start doing, your own self-diagnosis. So then that way, in the next videos that come up, it will be easier for you to keep money, to attract money, and to have a really good relationship with money. I highly recommend getting Jen's book if you can to do some of those journal prompts. And what I like to do is I like to set the mood. So I like to light some candles. I like to sit down. I like to just take my time and just really do a deep dive. What are my thoughts around money? What are my beliefs about money? What do I say about money? And then what are people around me saying about money? And then based on that, it's going to show up how money is in your bank account. So if you come from a family where you weren't taught about money, and let's say by the time you went to college, or maybe you were just out of school and you started to get credit cards, you could have abused them and found yourself thousands of dollars in debt. You could have also had a situation where maybe you've co-signed for someone's car and they promised to make the payments and they didn't make the payments. So now your credit is bad. So there's different types of underlying circumstances of why you might struggle with money. So me being in the spiritual field, there's a lot of people that are also in the spiritual field who wish that money didn't exist. So are you one of the people who wish that money didn't exist? Do you have a love-hate relationship with money? When it comes time to pay the bills, is there resentment? Do you feel stress? How are you feeling in your body? Does your body begin to tighten up when it comes time to pay bills? Are you avoiding paying bills? Are you avoiding bill collectors on the phone? Like, are you screening calls? So if you think about it, money is energy. And if you have any type of resentment against it, it's going to be hard for it to come to you. So it's going to be quite confusing. So when I was first learning how to drive a car, my dad taught me in a stick shift, because he said is once you learn how to drive a stick shift, you can drive anything. One of the tricks that he showed me is oftentimes if you ever driven a stick shift, whenever you're on the hill, the car just rolls back just slightly. And so in order to get the car to stop, he taught me that if you put pressure on the gas and the equal amount of pressure on the brake, it's going to stop the car and it will stand still. And as you want it to go forward, you start to release off the clutch and you start to push more onto the gas. So think about it. If you have a struggle with money, if you have a love-hate relationship, you are equally applying pressure, which means that you are stopping money from coming in. So I want you to go ahead and do this exercise and then list down for me in the comments below of what you've discovered. So I have a question for you. So once you start to discover where you are with money as far as your thoughts and your beliefs, are you ready to take the next step? Are you ready to challenge those beliefs so that you can start to get a different outcome? So in the next video, we're going to talk about how to get more money. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you'll know when the next video goes live. All right, I will see you on the next video. Take care.